Hey, welcome to Intangibles for Performance, presented to you by A-Mind Training, myself, Kris Beech. And today we'll be talking about the second core competency in our series, the life skill of personal awareness and self-management. And now, if you've been following our series, you'll know that we're highlighting some critical strengths, some characteristics required to thrive or flourish in any environment, whether that's as a student, an athlete, in our personal life, or within a career. And these strengths, these characteristics, are first of all, they're not my opinion. They're developed over years of research by a colleague of mine, Dr. Wayne Hammond, clinical psychologist out of the University of Calgary. So these aren't my opinion. These are things that are validated as critical to performance and thriving and doing so in a healthy way. And I've been lucky to hook up with Dr. Wayne on this project. So what I've been able to do is recognize these strengths within my experience and say, yes, absolutely, these are critical. And with the core competency of personal awareness and self-management, there are three of these strengths that I've already covered in some earlier videos. The first one is emotional intelligence and regulation. The second one is the ability to have self-compassion and kindness. And the third one is the ability to manage stress and be mindful. And these three strengths build the core competency life skill of personal awareness and self-management. And without a doubt, within my experience as an athlete, 15 years as a pro, many different things going on, ups and downs, pursuing an aspiration, pursuing goals, both in sport, within life, managing relationships along the way. There's a lot of things that come into the picture, and your ability to be emotionally aware, your ability to manage emotion effectively is definitely critical, and in many different ways. And as a young athlete, most definitely I was not aware of the importance of this, and this was a skill that to a certain degree I was lacking, and quite often would lead me to grinding my gears through a lot of the experiences that I went through, whereas they could have been more fluid, more efficient, and ultimately leading to better, more consistent performance and well-being. Also, self-kindness and compassion, something that, again, you talk to a competitive athlete, especially in an aggressive or physical sport, they may say, well, what the hell does that have to do with peak performance? And as I mentioned in the other video, a lot of the top athletes that I played with, which includes a large list from Mario Lemieux to Alex Ovechkin and many in between, these players possessed self-kindness and compassion. They may not have noticed it, hence why we call it an intangible skill, but it was definitely there, and I observed it. And their ability to make a mistake and not even really think about it, obviously moving on to the next play quickly, not beating themselves up, not being hard on themselves, staying competitive and focused on the next play. That is self-kindness and compassion within the athletic environment. And again, they may not even know what they were doing, or it may not have been on purpose, but that's what they were doing. And now the thing is that there is varying degrees of people's ability to be compassionate towards themselves and kind towards themselves. And my experience was that I was pretty hard on myself. I wasn't very nice to myself, and I dwelled on things that didn't go my way a little bit too long. So there's varying degrees, and the great part about it is that it is a skill that we can work on with various practices. And a lot of the work that I do with athletes is in relation to working on our ability to not beat ourselves up in those moments, staying competitive, staying with our strengths and what we know we can do to move forward and continue our path to improvement and putting forward our best effort and ability. So really critical strength. And then finally, the ability to manage stress and be mindful. I talked about in the video. Again, this is something that's somewhat of a specialty for me. I've put a lot of years into a personal mindfulness practice. The word is kind of woo-woo. I get that. Some people are like, not for me. I run into it a lot in the hockey world, but once you start to kind of educate people a little bit about what it is, you know, they start to realize that essentially it's about training focus, attention, awareness, and learning the ability to have a higher degree of control of where your attention and where your awareness is. So quite often when they learn that and hear that, mindfulness doesn't become such a scary word anymore. So but again, my personal experience, without a doubt, that skill helped me manage some of the stressors that can come with the athletic environment, and there are a number of them that can pop up, and not that, you know, they're major stressors. Some can be, but a lot of the time they're minor things, and the ability to efficiently manage them will only contribute to our physical well-being, our psychological well-being, and our ability to perform consistently as we regulate and manage those stressors that can come with the experience. So again, a critical strength, the ability to regulate stress, the ability to have control, supreme control over focus, attention, awareness, a valuable tool that, again, you can work on and you can improve and enhance. And that's a big part of why I'm doing this series, is to help people realize that working on these things isn't just for people that are really struggling. And I think, you know, that reactive approach is kind of going by the wayside. Quite often in this field, it's been largely a reactive approach. It's like, okay, well, you're really struggling with your confidence. Well, you better go talk to Kris then. Whereas we're trying to make strides towards a more proactive approach where we know that these things are skills. We know that we can work on them and put time into them. Sorry, bit of a loud bike there. It's a loud one. But we know now that these things can be worked on and improved upon, just like any physical skill, just like any technical skill. So a big part of why I do this series is to help people understand that and educate on that concept and that idea, that we can actually put time into this and get benefit from it in the same way as developing our physical skill. So that's it for today. Core competency of personal awareness, self-management, intangible skill for performance. I look forward to seeing you soon with the next video. Thank you.